Okay, good morning. Thanks for coming out today to our newest Islais Creek facility. It's a beautiful San Francisco morning, and we're really happy to be here, excited about a number of things that we have to talk about, investments that we're making to improve Muni. The reason that we're able to do so, the reason that we're able to make these improvements is because of the leadership and the strength of the economy that's giving us the resources to do so. And the health of our economy today has been shaped and framed in large part by our Mayor, Ed Lee. We're very grateful for his leadership and support, understanding the need for investing in the transportation system, and very happy to have him here with us today. So please join me in welcoming our Mayor, Ed Lee.
Thank you, Ed Riskin. As I often will say, it takes two Eds, are better than one. And I want to say congratulations not only to Ed, but to Tom Nolan, the president of our Municipal Transit Board of Directors, to John Haley, who's a deputy here, to all the Transit Workers Union members who get the privilege of working in a modern facility for once, right? And let me begin by saying that I think it's been over 60 years, something close to my age, Ed, that it has taken for this city to actually build its last maintenance facility. It's been over 60 years. And this particular one has been one that a lot of eyes has been looking at because it's called our Islais Creek Maintenance and Operation Maintenance Facility. And it's one that's been in the making for quite some time. It's been the recipient of Phase 1 and Phase 2 funding that the city and Muni and state and federal monies have been putting together, and a part of this funding, particularly for the next phase we're about to launch as of today, Phase 2, is paid in part by what the public voted with all of us on last year, Proposition A, which was our transportation bond, a $500 million transportation bond that did not raise property taxes, but was in great part the producer of this particular facility. But more importantly, what is going to happen here is very exciting. I just got a simple inspection of one of the new 60-foot diesel hybrid buses that more and more our residents, our visitors, our day-to-day people who ride Muni are going to be experiencing. And I think for this month, we already have some 37 of these new buses, both the 40-footers and the 60-footers that were on met the streets. We have already about 130 of these buses are already on the streets, so that's another congratulations. Eventually, in the next 5 years, the entire fleet of buses and trolleys will be replaced, upgraded. And I think people that work every day on their maintenance are going to be happy because they'll have to do less maintenance on brand new buses. But also the ridership, the most important, the 150,000 riders that we have every single day, it's probably up to 170 now, if I got the right numbers, are going to appreciate cleaner buses, longer buses, that means more room. And then we worked very hard on the actual routes and the improvement of those routes. And this is what Muni does as well, and is doing it better and better with our traffic engineers, our city planners. And this is why it's a multi-level approach to modernizing Muni. And I know that John Haley is going to have a few moments with you today because they've been working very hard this past year on almost a dozen routes in the city. And these are the most congested routes where on a weekly basis, the MTA board has lots of people that come before it and quietly tell them what improvements they like. And I know that the quietness of their pleas have been met with open ears at the city and the Board of Trustees because we've heard them. We've heard the hundreds of people talk about how crowded and how slow the Fulton Street buses are on Route 5, I believe it is, 5 Fulton, 5X Fulton, as one of a dozen examples of improvements that are being made, not just on the buses and the buses that will be used there, but on the actual routes themselves. We've heard how crowded they are, and when you get to that McAllister section, how delayed it is. Well, the engineers went to work this past year. They went to work on key intersections. They did some key engineering and street improvements that Mr. Haley will talk about in a minute, so that we can circle around some of these places a little faster. They talked about how more longer buses can get more people on, so they're not waiting on the streets inappropriately for these buses to have. And that we predict with this, and it's already, I think, been tested out, that over 20 minutes on some people's day-to-day ride on that particular route and others will be saved. I'm hoping on that, because then the MTA board meetings will be a little quieter, at least for some sections of the city. Well, we have over a dozen of these streets, whether they're in the Sunset, on Masonic. There are a lot of treatments that our money and our engineers went to work to really re-engineer, redesign them to be complemented by these new buses that I think people are going to appreciate. Not only the people who ride it every day, the people who have disabilities. We handled a few of these particular wheelchair accessible points within the bus. The actual signage, the simplicity of pulling some of these levers so that the seats can be made available for those that have physical challenges. Worked very hard to do that. On this facility down here, I say it's significant that 60 years have gone by. We haven't had a facility where the workers are proud to work in. They've always been very crowded. They had machinery on the buses that was going to break down. They're going to see that same bus in a couple of weeks. They knew that. And so the investment in all these buses that are new is an incredible help to a dedicated workforce that wants these things out of the shop and onto the streets with their drivers every single day and every single hour. And right behind these new buses will be brand new trolleys that are being constructed as we speak in the great city of Sacramento, our sister city. And in Sacramento, we have a corporation, Siemens Corporation, that is helping us design these, yet again, to the specifications that can be maintained easily, that can also be both brand new, that can be very accessible, and that's, of course, our electrical trolley and our trains that will be on our streets and our subways in a very short time. We hope, I think by the end of next year, we'll have hopefully one of these demonstration cars that all of you can come and see. Before that time, I'll be making a trek up to Sacramento and joining Ed Riskin, John Haley, and Tom on personally seeing some of the new models that they are constructing for us. We're excited about this because transportation is a key to a world-class city like San Francisco. And I want the public to know that in addition to this maintenance facility and the new buses, the new trolleys, the re-envisioning of very crowded routes to make them better, safer, we have over 28 Vision Zero projects that are under very aggressive completion. And Ben's here on our Vision Zero, and he knows he's on top of those every day because I ask him every week which ones are done yet. And we want our city to be safe at the same time. We promote the highest use historically of any time in the city of our public transit system. More and more people are using it. And I want to, again, take this opportunity to thank great companies like Google who've stepped up and said, we can provide free Muni for our low-income youth. And then Muni and its leadership to say, and we can do the same thing for our low-income seniors and our people with disabilities. All in an effort to say that we're a transit-friendly city, a public transit-friendly city. And when our federal partners and our state partners look at the timing in which we do this, they'll come up with even more money. Right, Ed? Because they'll want to demonstrate to the rest of the country, this is a great investment that San Francisco is modeling for the rest of the country. I know Oakland, I know San Jose, I know Los Angeles are all wanting the same things to happen in their cities. People invest in the public transportation system, they'll be that much more successful as we continue the dialogue around a second BART tube, a electrified Caltrains, and right here in Islais Creek, we're going to make sure that these kinds of facilities honor the men and women that are committed to having the best transit system they want to be a part of. I'm excited about this because I know I have a housing crisis and a homelessness crisis to respond to, but while we're doing those, we're going to work and make sure that we honor the $500 million of transportation bond, that we have a transit system that everybody will be invited to contribute to, from the office developers to the new housing that we're doing, to the new neighborhoods that we're creating, to the new arena that we're inviting in, and to the new candlestick that we're building to complement our Hunters Point shipyard, our Lot A of the Giants, to the hospitals that are going up. They all need good transit systems. Pretty soon, we'll be inviting in, and right here will be those facilities that also invite the brand new BRT on Van Ness that we're working on now, the bus rapid transit system. All of those will be maintained and launched right here at Islais Creek, maintenance and facility that we hopefully will name after somebody famous one of these days too, in addition. So I want to say again, thank you. It's exciting for me to see this infrastructure being invested in, but also to say thank you to the men and women that run it every single day. I'm proud of our TWU, what they're doing on the cable cars with our police department to make sure everybody's riding there safely, what we do with Vision Zero, what we do with our ridership that's increasing every day. This is a great time for San Francisco. Yes, we have challenges, but we have the people to meet those challenges with the commitment, and we have the strength to collaborate with everybody in this city to forge support for the kind of support that you're seeing right here in this facility. Congratulations, Muni, and here's the other Ed.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think you could see, he wasn't reading from notes. He was speaking from his deep experience in managing infrastructure in the city and developing the city's capital plan, his love of the city, his love of Muni. I have to say, being transportation director in a city that's got a mayor like Ed Lee, I feel just so extremely lucky. It's that kind of leadership, connecting what's happening in terms of land use and development to transportation, recognizing the need to invest in our facilities to make sure our employees, our mechanics, our custodians, our people who clean the vehicles, as well as our operators and street supervisors, have what they need so they can do their job well. To be able to purchase brand new buses, and we couldn't have scripted this better, a brand new bus literally just rolled in. This is one of our new electric trolley buses, new 60-foot buses. We'll be replacing the oldest parts of our rubber tire fleet. To be able to bring in these new buses, more of them, as the mayor said, changing out old 40-foot buses for 60-foot buses so the buses have more capacity, building the new facilities that we need, modern facilities, in order to maintain the additional fleet, and then approving the changes to the Muni route system, the increases in service. We're in a great position, and we're there in part because of the leadership of our board of directors who have made the tough budget decisions to balance issues like free Muni for youth and seniors and people with disabilities with the needs to expand service, invest in facilities. So we've had great and steady leadership for a long time from our board of directors. Very pleased to have with us today the chairman of the board, who also coincidentally, or maybe not coincidentally, incidentally sits on the board of the Caltrain Joint Powers Board. And the other part that wasn't scripted was having the great train whistles from Caltrain coming by as a hub here of transportation infrastructure. But we couldn't do this without the leadership of our board, making the hard decisions, the policy decisions, the budget decisions, backing the changes such as the mayor talked about on McAllister Street for the 5 Fulton. So thanks, and please join me in welcoming the chairman of the board, Tom Nolan.
Thank you very much. I've been on the MTA board for 10 years now, and I've been proud to be part of that from the very beginning. But I can tell you, I'm more proud all the time by the faith that people of San Francisco invested in us with $500 million last year and $26 million Prop B. It's really very encouraging. I think it's based on the hard work that was done by our staff, the Transit Effectiveness Project, a period of several years of major outreach to the community, discussing these, listening to the public. I've always said that our job is to look out for the whole city while being mindful of individual neighborhoods and concerns, and we have done that. And Mr. Mayor, you're exactly right. People have strong opinions about moving every parking meter, every stop sign, anything like that, but we keep our eye on the larger picture, and I think we've been able to do that very successfully, and I think that's in part why Measure A was so successful last year. On behalf of our Board of Directors, Mr. Mayor, thank you for your leadership. Members of the Board of Supervisors have been very, very supportive in this all the way, the people of San Francisco. So I hope everybody gets a chance to go on one of these this morning. They're really amazing. It's another example of listening to the people, especially the disabled community. You can see that when you get on there, some of the new features these buses have. So on behalf of our board, thank you all for your support, and I look forward to rolling out all the new lines and everything, all the new buses. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the work that Chair Nolan referred to in the Transit Effectiveness Project, which was approved by the MTA board in March of last year, we are now bringing forward an implementation under the umbrella of Muni Forward. And that's the new facilities, it's the new vehicles, it's capital changes in the streets, redesigns of the streets that the mayor referenced to reduce delays on Muni. It's rationalizing and straightening out the routes of Muni, and it's also increasing service. And this past weekend, we did our a portion of the 10% increase in service, unprecedented increase in service, supported by the mayor, adopted by our board of directors last year. So with all of that, the good planning work done by our planners, our engineers, by our outreach staff, then somebody's got to actually implement it. Somebody's got to buy the buses, get them out on the street, implement the service changes, implement the service increases, and that falls under our transit division. So we're pleased to have the guy who makes it all happen 24/7 here to explain a little bit more the specifics of what we're launching today. Please welcome our Director of Transit, John Haley.
Thank you, Ed Mayor. We just to pay tribute to our attention to the guidance of our policymakers and our boss here. They said that they wanted Muni service to be more reliable and that they wanted us to reduce the age of the fleet. Little did we know that at the beginning of the program, the fleet age would be one number, and by the time the mayor got done speaking, we had reduced it a little. So as was indicated before, what this is about is listening to our ridership and honoring our commitment. Back in April, you may remember we had the first of 2 service increases. We tackled our most crowded lines. I can say that the results have been good in terms of improving our reliability. Our mechanical reliability is better than it was by 10% in the last year alone. And part of what that means is it positions us for a day like today. Today we dedicate not only a brand new facility, and as you look around this facility, what you see is not only buses coming in, but new service. This morning, for the first time, routes from the 14X and the 8AX were coming out of this facility. This is now a new working facility, and over the period of the next couple of years, we'll build it out to get to full capacity. But right now, we're accepting new buses here. This is the home of our training fleet, and it's also the home that when these buses go into service, over time, part of spending our money wisely, using efficiencies wherever we can, we begin to retire some of the older buses, many of whom have been here longer than some of our mechanics. And with that note, I do want to acknowledge, as was said earlier, one of the things about a new facility, new equipment, new service is what allows us to do this is the unique strengths and skills of our workforce. Some of the people you see standing behind you in the yellow vests, they're the people, they maintain the oldest buses that are older than 20 years old. And every time someone expects the bus to show up, they make it happen. Similarly, our operators, they are asked to in a particular day sometimes to drive two different types of vehicles. And everyone's a little bit different, yet their professional behavior, their training, their strong work ethic allows us to deliver the service. So part of what we're dedicating today is not just a new facility, new service on key lines, and new equipment, but also paying tribute to our workforce, who really allows us to do all that, that's able to transition and modernize the system. Today with this service, this collection of routes that we're adding new service starting on Saturday, it's a better way to connect the city. First time back in September, we began to say, okay, let's deal with our most crowded lines, the 1, the 38. Let's add more frequency, more service. What we've done this time is make it easy for us and for all of our riders to realize the city goals. Lines like the 22, the 24 are now going across the city. They're connecting neighborhoods, they're connecting people to jobs. Adjustment to lines like the 57, like the 18, marry folks to new destinations that they couldn't get to. In other words, all of the goals that the mayor has established as a city to make transit a better choice and the option of choice, we're taking more steps down that road today. So with that, I just want to thank the mayor, Chairman Nolan, Ed Riskin, for their unwavering policy support and giving us the tools to deliver this. And I want to acknowledge the work not only of the maintenance and our operators, but of our fleet engineers who made this all possible by working with our manufacturers to push an aggressive schedule. And also, obviously, with our scheduler today, who managed to get the bus through the sometimes pesky toll lane in Fairfield and Vallejo, and here we are. So with that, I just want to congratulate everyone. Thanks for your support, and we look forward to building out this full facility and continuing to keep our commitment and promise to our riders. Thank you.
So just to summarize, what we're kind of celebrating here is the opening of the first phase of a new facility. And today, literally, we're breaking ground. Construction starts today on the second phase of this facility. We've got new buses going into service, including more buses, larger buses, buses that are more modern and lower maintenance, more reliable. We have service changes that were implemented this weekend, which are both increasing service as well as fixing or improving some of the routes. And we're making physical changes in the streets that have the dual benefit of reducing delays on Muni and making the street safer for all road users in furtherance of our Vision Zero goal to eliminate traffic fatalities in San Francisco by 2024. So it's a whole lot of things coming together, made possible only by the leadership of the folks standing behind me. So it's a great day and just another step forward for Muni Forward for providing better service to those who ride today and those who will ride tomorrow. And in close, I want to bring the mayor back up. This is a fueling facility, and in light of some of what's been happening around the country this past week, perhaps we can think of this as a benediction to close out the event today.
So, a 10% service increase would have been fine as an announcement today, and this is what we're actually doing here. But we actually had an additional guest that we invited, but he had to return home directly. And even though Pope Francis couldn't stop by San Francisco, I know that he is additionally honored by our city of St. Francis with an announcement that I had the privilege of making when some 50 mayors, including me, were able to attend the Vatican a couple months ago. With the leadership and strong support of our Governor Jerry Brown, we announced that our city and our entire diesel fleet will go to 100% renewable diesel starting immediately. And then that fueling will be done right here in this modern facility. Every biodiesel bus, every heavy equipment diesel that needs to be will be fueled here in the city. And that use of renewable diesel subtracts from our diesel greenhouse gas emissions over 60% greenhouse gas emissions. I know the Pope would be smiling on us as he lands back in Rome, that he didn't have to stop in San Francisco in order for our city to do the right thing. So I want to say congratulations to this facility yet again, because you are more than world class. Renewable diesel is going to be an answer to a lot of challenges right now because it does not have those fumes that poison our workers, that poison our climate, and that is contemporary with the call of our world leadership to really be a companion, a partner to reduce greenhouse gas emissions all around the world. And it's being done right here in our modern facility at Islais Creek. Again, congratulations. I hope the Pope was here. That's my benediction.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, everyone. So that concludes this portion. John Haley has graciously offered for anyone interested to show you around the facility, to show you some of the new vehicles. Thanks, everybody, for coming.